I want to show you foundation double crochet and how to change colors while you do it as well. So you're going to chain 3 to start your foundation double crochet. And then you are going to yarn over and go into the 3rd chain from your hook. Yarn over and pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull through just 1 loop. Now you're going to complete a double crochet with the loops that are left on your hook. There's 3. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. You've made a double crochet, and right here at the bottom is your chain stitch. And this chain 3 from the beginning is a double crochet. 2 of the chains are the double crochet, and the bottom chain is the base chain. So yarn over, go through that V you see on the bottom there. Yarn over and pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through just 1. You've made the chain. Now yarn over and complete a double crochet. Yarn over, go through that V you can see on the bottom there. That looks like the top of a stitch. Just 1. Then the double crochet. Yarn over, go through that V, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through just 1, then complete your double crochet. And that is foundation double crochet. It is a life changer. I avoid chains whenever possible in anyone's pattern if I can, because I really love the way it makes this really nice edge that you can crochet into when you go to border your blanket. Looks exactly like stitches at the top, which is really great. So in this little piece here, I have 5 stitches. This is a first stitch, this 2 chains, and then that little chain at the beginning. And I like, because this can be pulled tight into a knot, I like to keep a stitch marker in it until I border my blanket, just to make sure that it doesn't get pulled tight accidentally and then I have to deal with it. So now I'm going to show you how you'll change colors when you're doing the foundation double crochet. It's exactly how you would change colors in any other time. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that. It's the way that I change colors any other time. It might not be the way that you learned. So I'm going to yarn over and go through the V, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, make that bottom chain stitch. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull through just 2, so I've done half of that next double crochet. I'm going to grab the color I want to switch to. Okay, so I just pull it through like it's the end of my stitch. So just pull it through like it's the end of that double crochet stitch. You can pull this a little bit tight, but not too tight, because you don't want to yank it and see all that extra yarn. So here, I'm going to show you one more time how I did that. So I'm going to yarn over and go through the V, pull up the loop, yarn over and go through 1 to create my chain. Then I'm going to yarn over and go through 2 to make half of my double crochet. Then I'm going to change colors by putting that color over my hook and pulling that through the last 2 loops of my double crochet. I want to keep all these tails to the back of my work, because in my patterns, row 1 and every odd row after, when you crochet with the hook in your right hand, is the front of your work. So then I'm going to yarn over. Don't worry if it's a little loose right now, we'll fix it in a sec. So just yarn over, go through that V of the last stitch, yarn over, pull up 1, yarn over and go through 1, make a chain stitch, then finish the double crochet. Okay, you can tighten that or a little bit to make it look nice. And I've kept all my tails, my starting tail, and this one I dropped that I'll pick up later, I've kept it behind my work. So you yarn over, go through the V, just keep going. Make a couple, and then I'll come back and show you how to change when you're turning and working back the other way. Okay, so I've got to the end. And in my patterns, if you've made them before or if you haven't, chain 2 is what turns your row, and it counts as your first stitch of the next row. So I'm going to chain 2, I'm going to turn my work. Now see, I can see my tails because now I'm looking at the back of my blanket. I'm going to start double crocheting across. Now, This chain 2 is a stitch. So you never want to make a double crochet into this first stitch underneath because this one belongs to it. So you're going to go into the second one. Go across until we're right at our last one. So I'm right here at my last one. I'm going to go in with my double crochet and just make that first half of the double crochet. Then I'm ready to switch. So I'm going to take my yarn that I've just been working with and I'm going to make sure it's hanging on the back of my blanket. So you always want to keep it to the back. And then I'm going to pick up the other color. I'm going to tighten it. I'm going to tighten it a little at this point if it was loose, not too tight. Okay. And then I'm going to yarn over with that and pull it through to complete my double crochet. Now there's this yarn coming up here and I'm going to show you how to get rid of that. So when I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to, instead of just going into my next stitch to make my next double crochet, I'm going to also go under this tail, or not tail, I'm going to go under this yarn that was carried up and I'm going to grab it as part of my stitch, the yarn over, pull through all that. Okay, now it's secured in my stitch. Now I'm going to complete that double crochet and what I've got is, you can't see the yarn carried up, and on the when you're looking at the back of the work, there's just this little bit instead of that long bit, and so nothing will ever get caught in it, and it'll look really nice. So I'm going to finish to the other side and I'll show you again from the front. Oh, I think I made a mistake. There we go. Okay. All right, I'm to the end here, and this chain 2 is a stitch, remember? So you're going to make your last stitch into the top of that chain 2. So this is the back. All my tails are still there. The front looks really nice. Almost looks like you sewed them together. Okay, so chain 2, it's a stitch. Don't go into the first one. Go right across with your double crochet. I'm going fast because I'm not teaching you to double crochet. I'm teaching you to color change. Okay, so I'm in my last one. I did half a double crochet. Now I want to keep my tail to the back, remember, so I'm just going to drop it and let it be. Then I'm going to grab my other one, yarn over with it, and pull through to finish that double crochet. Then I'm going to yarn over, go into the stitch, but I also, remember, I want to grab the yarn that was carried up on the back, this yarn right here. So I'm going to yarn over, and I'm also going to go through that and grab it before I yarn over to pull up my stitch. Then I'll finish that double crochet. And then I've secured that yarn, and you almost can't even see on the back that anything's being carried up then. And what you end up with on the back side is it kind of has a ridge, and I think it looks really nice. So the back could be the front could be the back. The only time it matters is if you're working one of my patterns that has wording, in which case there's only one right side. So the front looks is perfectly flat. It almost looks like they were sewn together, and the back has that nice ridge. So you can decide which you like as the front and which you like as the back, unless you're doing words. All right, so now I just want to finish this really quick, and I want to show you how to crochet into the bottom of the foundation chain when you're doing the initial single crochet edging to set up for the border, because there's not a right or a wrong way to do it, but there's a way I think that looks nicer than the other. So I'm going to pretend like this is my whole blanket. So this is the front of the blanket, so I wouldn't turn to do my border. So I chain 1, I'm going to go down the side. So anyway, I'm stitched down the side, and now I'm going to put 2 stitches into the bottom of the first chain or foundation stitch, because the first one's going to be my corner stitch. So you have to look, and on the bottom they just look like regular stitches, so it makes it really easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into that bottom one, and I'm just going to make 2 single crochets. And this one becomes the corner, and this one becomes the first bottom stitch. So when I go across, what you're seeing is you're seeing this chain stitch on the bottom, you're seeing a double crochet here, but there's this extra little loop right here. I like to crochet over that as well when I'm going into the foundation chain, because if you don't, it makes that row look longer and it bothers me. I think it looks kind of funny. So if I just go into the bottom foundation stitch, it looks like this. And it makes this row seem kind of extra long because there's this extra loop here that you don't see on a normal double crochet row. It's just a weird loop. So what I like to do is catch that loop when I go across my row. Whether I've turned or not, I always catch it. So I just go through that loop too. So I don't know if you can see there's that extra loop. So I go through that loop and the V on the bottom. And then my single crochet comes right up to the bottom of that double crochet. And I just think it looks neater and cleaner. You can do it however you want, but that's just how I do it. So now I'm coming to the point in my blanket where I would be changing colors. And if you change colors with your color changes of your panels, it's going to make a cleaner, more professional, nicer looking blanket. So this is just like changing colors with the double crochets. So I yarned over and pulled up a loop. Now I want to change colors back to this. Now I don't have scissors because I am unprepared. So I'm going to grab the other end of this yarn. So I'm going to pull up the rest of my single crochet in that color, in that next color. And then I've pulled it up. It is kind of loose looking, but you can tighten it down in a second. Then, oh, we're single crocheting, so we're just going to go into the next one. Remember to grab that extra loop as you do it. And then we've changed colors, and you can tighten down that spot where your color changed. So you can't see, basically you're not seeing where you're going into the border. That's why I like that initial single crochet edge to have the exact same colors all the way around, even if it's a small color change, because it just looks nicer. So that is kind of the anatomy of foundation double crochet and how it works and how you go into it when you crochet at the end. But there you go.